6 godina nakon osnivanja specijalizovanih veća Kosova počinje i prvo suđenje, kako je najavljeno ovog meseca. Koliko će se čekati na prve presude ovih veća sa sedištem u Hagu, ako smo na početak suđenja čekali 6 godina?
First of all, thank you very much, Mr. Nečić, for your invitation. This is the first meeting that I have since my arrival immediately from the airport, and I'm very pleased. And I will be trying to answer to the extent possible all your questions. Now, the first question that you addressed to me about the duration and how much time it will take up until there are some final judgments, of course, is a question that I cannot give a very specific answer to, due to the fact that of course, it depends on the specificities of the proceedings. It depends also on a number of factors. The 4 cases that are before the Kosovo Specialist Chambers are at different stages of the proceedings, and they're quite different. For example, out of the 4 cases, we have 2 already that have been transferred by the pretrial judge to trial. There are 2 trial panels, and the first case against Mr. Mustafa is going to start on the 15th of September. And quite soon, the second case against Mr. Gucati and Mr. Haradinaj will follow with trial chamber 2. The other 2 cases are still at the pretrial stage of the proceedings. The case against Mr. Taci, Veseli, Selimi and Krasniki are voluminous. The 10 counts of crimes against humanity, war crimes, so no one can certainly, with any certainty, say how long it will take. Of course, just one last point, that when the judges of the Kosovo Specialist Chambers back in March 2017 have discussed, deliberated, adopted the rules of procedure and evidence, which is the equivalent of a criminal procedure code, one of the main principles upon which we have built the rules of procedure and evidence has been the principle of expeditiousness. So we have been aiming at efficient, apart from safe, secure, fair proceedings, but also to be efficient and expeditious, because this will satisfy the expectations of people, and also this will be fair to everyone brought to account to be tried within a reasonable time.
A u kojoj meri sarađujete sa institucijama Kosova i koliko ste zadovoljni tom saradnjom?
Well, the law on specialist chambers and specialist prosecutors' office that was adopted back in 2015 provides for cooperation with the Kosovo Specialist Chambers by all entities, state officials, organizations, citizens. So any judicial order has to be respected and to be immediately resorted to its fulfillment. So far, of course, I cannot speak on behalf of the specialist prosecutor because they're a totally independent institution from us, and the specialist chambers, including the president, the position that I hold right now, we don't have knowledge about the cooperation with the specialist prosecutor, but still what is public knowledge, and accordingly knowledge to all of us, in particular to me as well, is that so far we used to have a very good cooperation with the Kosovo police that was supporting the efforts for the arrest and surrender of those who have been brought to the detention facilities in The Hague. Also, during Mr. Veseli's granted for humanitarian purposes leave from the court to visit his father when he was sick, and thereafter, after the passing of his father, also the Kosovo police was very, very efficient and provided excellent cooperation. Of course, you know that last point, that we have a legal aid scheme with the Kosovo Specialist Chambers, whereby those who cannot afford to pay themselves for the council, of course, they could be provided with the financial support by the Kosovo Specialist Chambers. And here, of course, our registrar, who is in charge of this legal aid scheme, has to receive information, and mainly from Kosovo authorities, about some accounts, property, and so on, in order for our financial investigation to decide whether the person is indigent, and whether, in case the person is indigent, the person could be provided full or partial support. So far that is our experience.
A da li na bilo koji način imate saradnju sa institucijama Republike Srbije, odnosno Beogradom? I ako da, na čemu se ona zasniva?
Yes. Well, actually, Serbia falls within the category of the so-called third states that are neither EU member states, neither third contributing states. So, of course, for a variety of different reasons, the Kosovo Specialist Chambers could enter into arrangements with third states. For example, there is a provision in the rules, in Rule 208, according to which the judges could seek some information that is needed for their cases. Also, the Defense Council and the Victims Council could also resort to the need to cooperate with third states, including Serbia, if they would be in need of some information which is central for their cases. So I don't know whether for the moment, up until now, the judges have been resorted to this provision. There are also relevant provisions in the law as adopted by the Kosovo Parliament back in 2015, but that is what the law provides and the rules of procedure and evidence. So I believe that if the necessities of the concrete cases would dictate so, panels, judges would not hesitate also to fulfill the requests of the defense and victims.
Da. A da li će se specijalizovana veća baviti slučajevima koji se povezuju samo sa navodima Dika Martija, odnosno koji su predmet izveštaja Parlamentarne skupštine Saveta Evrope ili i nekim drugim?
Well, actually, this is a question that should be addressed, and I'm not a person who likes to refer the question to someone else, but that reflects the reality. It is up to the specialist prosecutor, and we know that this is not an exception from all systems, domestic, be it international, internationalized, that the driving force is the prosecutor. So in our case, it depends on the prosecutor whether the prosecutor will investigate further on. Of course, we have to be mindful of Article 1 of our law, according to which crimes against humanity, war crimes, and other crimes provided in the Kosovo legislation fall within the subject matter jurisdiction that are related to the Council of Europe report, which has been enacted by the Parliament on the 7th of January 2011. So what will be the intention of the prosecutor? So far we see what he has investigated. For future cases, I have no idea whether at all there will be future cases and how far he will go.
Da. Pojedinim slučajevima zločina na Kosovu bavio se i Međunarodni krivični sud za bivšu Jugoslaviju, međutim, taj sud nije doneo pravdu za većinu žrtava, kao što to nisu uradili ni sudovi koji su radili ovdje na Kosovu pod patronatom, da tako kažem, EULEX-a i UMNIK-a, na primjer. Zašto sada verovati specijalizovanim većima kad je pravda u pitanju?
I have to say that what you say is a valid question. However, first of all these different institutions have been performing according to their mandate, and they did some judicial investigations, judicial proceedings that actually have been confined to their mandate. Of course, I'm not a politician and I have not been involved in the setting up of this institution. These were political decisions that have been taken by politicians. I have just applied for this position to be a judge and president for a certain period of time. And of course, I have to assert that the judges of the Kosovo Specialist Chambers are extremely committed to bring the mandate entrusted on the Kosovo Specialist Chambers to a successful end. And I can attest to their hardworking habits, to the expeditious way with which they have been so far performing their duties. For example, our pretrial judge has been dealing with all cases during the pretrial stage of the proceedings in order to provide predictability to all those who are interested or who might in one way or another end before the Kosovo Specialist Chambers in a different procedural status, of course. Then I remember how much committed judges were. We adopted the rules of procedure and evidence in actually 1 month and a week after the judges were appointed to the roster of international judges. So, and during a 3 days plenary. And it was a hard work driven by best intentions to provide best models of judicial decisions and of performance, judicial performance. I believe that what is deeply embedded as principles in our legal framework is going, and the way I see the motivation of judges and the very committed legal support staff, and also all people from the registry, I believe, and I shouldn't be seen as a naive person, at least I hope that people are not going to be disappointed with what we do. We are going to do safe, secure, fair, independent, impartial proceedings, and I hope that justice will be done. And of course, when we say justice, justice could be convictions, could be equal acquittals.
Da li se zna koliko će trajati procesi koje vodi i koje će voditi i u buduće specijalizovana veća? Odnosno, je li imaju specijalizovana veća neki rok postojanja, ograničeno vreme, da ne kažem rok trajanja?
Yeah. So let me tell you about the end of the investigations and proceedings stemming therefrom. Of course, we have to be guided what has been reflected in the exchange of letters that was between the European Union and Kosovo, whereby it has been very clearly determined that the end of any investigations and proceedings stemming from these investigations will come to an end when Kosovo will be notified by the Council of Europe about the end of these proceedings. Of course, and here I would like also to refer to the motivation of judges, because the delay in criminal proceedings is of concern in all domestic systems and also at the international level. So we have been very much heedful to this concern of every ordinary citizen of Kosovo, in the region, in my country as well. And that's why, for example, we set up some strict deadlines. And I shall give you at least 2 examples. If, for example, a party is not pleased with the way the pretrial judge, for example, has been handling an issue and is asking for a leave to appeal the decision, and if this leave is not decided by the pretrial judge in 1 week, then it is considered granted. So at other institutions, as I have been serving at the International Criminal Court, sometimes it could take 10 months up to a year. Of course, given the voluminous work pending before chambers, but still it was not, these were not good practices. Also with regard to the final judgment to be issued, sometimes it really takes so much time. Here we have set up a deadline, 3 months. beyond these 3 months, because of course we have to be realistic, some of the cases could be really with a lot of pieces of evidence, and diligently handling the evidence and really delivering justice would require somewhat a little bit of extension. It could be these 3 months could be extended with 2, and in exceptional circumstances beyond this. But be mindful that in order to be seeking this exceptional extension, the relevant panel has to issue a public decision where all the reasons for the extension beyond these 3 months and 2 months, so in total 5 months, has to be justified very well. Otherwise, of course, there will be critical comments and critical assessment of how the judges abide by the principle of expeditiousness.
Jasno. Dobro, a šta je po vama bio cilj objavljivanja navodnih dokumenata specijalizovanih veća sa imenima navodnih svedoka i drugih osoba koje su objavili predstavnici veterana Oslobodilačke vojske Kosova ovde na Kosovu?
Well, how this happened, I don't know. And this has been at the stage when the cases were with the prosecutor. And the prosecutor is in charge to do his job in order to find out how this happened. What the prosecutor did is something that is not public knowledge. It was an unfortunate development, and of course what we all have read in the public recent statements of the specialist prosecutor, that his office has approached witnesses, and that this office took appropriate measures so that they feel at ease with any concerns that they might have with regard to their safety, security, and of course that of their families. And here, of course, on behalf of the chambers, I have to say that here we have been, of course, now the judges are going to take over the responsibility as soon as 2 of the cases are already before the relevant panels, and judges will not hesitate to take any protective measures. And our legal framework is providing for the usage of pseudonyms, to redact the names also of the witnesses, to have closed or private sessions, although the principle of the hearings is that the hearings are all public in order that everyone is informed. Also to relocate witnesses, and we have within the registry, and our registrar is a very diligent and committed to her.
Da, ali pitao sam vas zapravo šta je bio cilj objavljivanja tih dokumenata i je li utvrđena autentičnost?
Oh, that I don't know.
Autentičnost tih.
I don't know the intentions of those who published. We can only speculate. There could be a range of different speculations that this could be to show that the witnesses are known, or that the office is not doing a good job. But these are just speculations. I really don't know the intentions, but the intentions...
A je li utvrđena autentičnost tih dokumenta?
We will see this now during the trial that is about to start quite soon. I said that the first case will commence on the 15th of September. I believe that by the end of September, maybe the second case against Mr. Gucati and Mr. Haradinaj will commence. And then all of us, including you, myself, we are going to learn what will be the findings of the trial panel 2 about the intentions. I don't know. And of course, the president has only administrative function that comes to an end with the assignment of judges to panels, but no president could intervene in the totally independent work of the panels. That's not possible. As a judge, I have never allowed anyone to intervene in my work, and I cannot do this to my colleagues, and I will not accept it.
Jasno, a šta su najveći izazovi specijalizovanih veća?
Well, I cannot say that we are facing some challenges, because what happens is part of the judicial work. So every one of us is used to this. But I have to say that what is on our mind as one of our pivotal responsibilities is the protection of witnesses. It is extremely important that witnesses be protected, because during different meeting with one of your colleague journalists, I made the point that I will make now as well. Even the best judicial decision is not worth if that would be delivered at the expenses of someone's life, safety and security. That's why no one who has been cooperating with the specialist chambers, not only witnesses, but all those who are members of their families, those who provided information thereafter, they were not summoned to appear as witnesses, before, during and after the trials are going to be taken very good care of. That, I believe, is something that is on the mind of every one of us. And that was a very worrisome period when the names of some witnesses have been allegedly exposed also. And on this, I'm absolutely certain. What I would like to achieve is that the people here in the region, the people in Kosovo, are going to trust us because we have been sworn in to do our work independently, impartially and conscientiously. The judges on the roster are high caliber professionals with highest integrity. No one is going to compromise his or her reputation by not putting all efforts to make people believe that this is a just institution. That is what is on our mind and this is what we are striving to achieve.
Da, ali u nekim ranijim sudskim procesima neki svedoci su gubili život na misteriozan način, da tako kažem, i iznenada. Da li specijalizovana veća mogu u potpunosti da zaštite i svedoke i žrtve i na kraju krajeva svoje osoblje, sudije, tužioce?
So, Mr. Ničić, as I told you, there is a specialized unit within the registry dealing on a daily basis with the witness issues. And of course, we are following everything that has happened in the past. Maybe, this is just my guess, because as I said, I have never been involved in the establishment of our institution, but maybe this was on the mind of the President of Kosovo back then and the High Commissioner of the European Union, when in the exchange of letters it was decided that sensitive proceedings, questioning of witnesses, some sensitive filings are going to be maintained outside Kosovo, and also that the dedicated judicial chambers are going to be located outside Kosovo. Maybe that was on the mind also when signing this agreement, thereafter ratified by the Kosovo Parliament, and on this basis, of course, the constitutional amendment, the law, to keep witnesses somewhat away from where the crimes were allegedly committed.
Hoćete li se sastati možda ovde sa nekim političarima sad tokom vašeg boravka na Kosovu, sa predsednicom, premijerom možda? Čini mi se da se niste sastali sa njima do sada.
No. So let me again repeat, taking the risk that I become repetitive. I'm not a politician, and I have to say that to be a politician requires special education, and we are just judges. We work according to the law and the evidence. We do our judicial business. So the only politician that I have met during my visit in 2017, the end of the year, was the then Minister of Justice, because the Ministry of Justice is the channel of communication between the Kosovo Specialist Chambers and the authorities here in Kosovo. And again, I'm going to meet the current Minister of Justice, with whom I already had exchanges with regard to a possible visit of Madam Minister of Justice to The Hague. So she's the only one that I'm going to meet, just because I don't have business with politicians. No.
Da, jel ste imali neki poziv od strane nekog političara da se sretnete možda?
Never. Never.
Da.
Never.
Dobro.
And
Evo.
I'm absolutely firm on this. And you know, we really built our reputation throughout all our years of experience. And even if politicians would have any intentions, they know whom they're going to meet, that nothing has been appreciated of this kind. Never in my professional life. Never.
Da, dobro, evo, na kraju Hašim Tači je tražio vaše izuzeće. Šta kažete na to, vaš komentar?
But that is the right of everyone who is suspect, accused before the Kosovo Specialist Chambers, and Mr. Tači has just resorted to some provisions that are applied. Whether the legal basis was respected, you know that I took a decision not to accept this request for recusal or disqualification because the legal basis is not correct. But he has the right, full right, everyone does, and we have to just, what is provided in the law cannot be just for the sake of appearing nice. We have to prove that what we do in our daily judicial work is actually reflective of the intentions of the drafters. And we were the drafters back then, apart from the law that was drafted by the parliamentarians in Kosovo.
Da, evo i na samom kraju, koji je vaš cilj ove posete Kosovu sada? Imaćete i brojne sastanke sa medijima, civilnim društvom?
Yes, Mr. Nečić, I wanted to come to Kosovo much earlier. The pandemic prevented me from doing this last year because for me, and let me be honest, I very much appreciate meeting journalists. I very much appreciate meeting anyone who is interested in the work of the Kosovo Specialist Chambers. But that has been my intention during my first visit, and this is again my intention, to meet ordinary people. I want to face any question coming from them because everything that we do is genuine. So there was an idea to again cancel, given the situation with the fourth wave of the pandemic and so on, but we have decided that this might go on for some more years, and I said no, I will go, taking the risk that we might be affected by the COVID, but we have to meet people. Ordinary people, mainly. Don't be insulted. But I speak out the truth. That is how I am.
Gospođo Trendafilova, hvala puno što ste govorili za Glas Amerike.
Thank you very much. It was my pleasure. I hope I could respond to at least some of your questions, Mr. Nečić.